I, 32M, Mark, guess I'm still trying to process the sheer audacity. My now ex, Deborah, 30F, and I were together for about 3 years. Lived together for the last one in my place. Things have been okay, or so I thought. Maybe a little rockier the last few months, more arguments, her being generally dismissive. I chalked it up to stress from her job. About a month ago, I overheard a snippet of a video call she was on with her best friend, Stephanie, 29F. Deborah was in the living room, I was in the kitchen, and she wasn't exactly quiet. She was going off about me, criticizing everything from my taste in music to how I loaded the dishwasher to making snide comments about my family. It wasn't just venting, it was mean-spirited, almost contemptuous. My stomach just sank. I didn't say anything then, just kind of retreated, feeling like I'd been punched. Later that week, I tried to talk to her about feeling a bit disconnected. She was immediately defensive. Deborah, what are you even talking about? I'm fine. Me? Okay, well, sometimes it feels like you're not happy with me, or things I do. Deborah, oh, so now I can't have opinions? Can't talk to my friends about my own relationship? Me? It's not about that, Deborah. It's the way you talk. I overheard you the other day with Stephanie, and it was pretty harsh. Her face hardened. Deborah, look, Mark, what I say to my friends is my business. I can talk about whoever I want, however I want. It's called venting. You being overly sensitive. Me. So, there's no line for you? No such thing as disrespect when it comes to me, as long as it's to your friends. Deborah, you absolutely can talk to your friends about me if you want. I don't care. It's not a big deal. Then she literally shrugged and picked up her phone, signaling the conversation was over. That was the moment something just snapped. The casual dismissal, the total lack of remorse. It wasn't just that she was saying these things. It was that she felt completely entitled to, with zero regard for my feelings. You absolutely can. Okay. The next day, Stephanie texted me. Hey, can we talk? Privately. We met for coffee. She looked uncomfortable. Stephanie. Mark, I need to tell you something. Deborah, she says a lot of stuff. About everyone, not just you. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of it. It's gotten worse lately. She then admitted that sometimes when Deborah got really wound up and contradictory, she'd started recording snippets of their calls. Mostly audio, sometimes screen recordings of Deborah was showing texts from other people and then trashing them. Stephanie said it started as a way to keep track of Deborah's shifting narratives because Deborah would often deny saying things or twist them later. She said she had hours of Deborah just being awful. About her job, her other friends, even her own family. And yes, plenty about me. Stephanie looked genuinely conflicted. I feel like a terrible friend for even telling you this, let alone recording anything. But the way she spoke to you after you overheard her and how she talks about you when you're not there, it's not okay. She told me you were being super controlling for bringing it up. I was floored by Stephanie's confession, but also validated. I told Stephanie about Deborah's I can talk about whoever I want line. Stephanie just shook her head. That's Deborah. That night, I ended it with Deborah. Calmly. Me. Deborah, this isn't working. Your attitude towards me, the things you say, I'm done. She was actually surprised. Then annoyed. Deborah. Seriously? Over that little conversation? You're being dramatic. Me. No, I'm being serious. We're done. I'd like you to move out. Deborah, wow. Fine. Whatever. She seemed more irritated about the inconvenience than the breakup itself. No sadness, no questions, just entitlement. Like I was a minor inconvenience. I ended it with Deborah about 10 days ago. She moved most of her stuff out a couple of days later, huffing and puffing. In the days that followed, Stephanie and I kept talking. She was a huge support, and honestly, we connected on a level I hadn't with Deborah in a long, long time. Stephanie felt guilty about Deborah, but Deborah had apparently been a pretty toxic friend to her for years, and this was the last straw for her too. 3 days ago, Stephanie and I had a long talk and acknowledged there was something more between us. We decided to officially start seeing where things went, dating, I guess you'd call it. The next evening, that would be 2 days ago now, Stephanie and I went out for dinner. Public place. We weren't being overtly couple Y, but I guess someone Deborah knows saw us. Word must have taken a day to get back to her, because this morning, my phone absolutely exploded. All Deborah. Voicemails, texts. How could you? With Stephanie? My best friend? You absolute snake. I knew you were trying to get with her. This is the ultimate betrayal. Both of you are disgusting. The irony is so thick, I could spread it on toast. She can say whatever she wants, but me moving on with someone who actually treats me with respect and who she alienated? Unacceptable betrayal. Stephanie's getting it too, apparently. Deborah's sister, Rebecca, 28F, has also jumped on the bandwagon, sending Stephanie abusive messages. So yeah, this is where we are. She wanted no big deal. Let's see how this plays out. Update 1. 2 weeks later. Alright, so it's been a couple of weeks since Deborah found out about me and Stephanie. The meltdown was and continues to be spectacular. Thanks for the comments on the original post. Good to know I'm not the crazy one here. Deborah's initial barrage of calls and texts eventually died down when I just stopped responding directly. I think she expected me to engage, to argue, so she could play the victim. When I didn't, she moved on to phase 2, the smear campaign and flying monkey deployment. Her sister, Rebecca, became chief attack dog. Rebecca started posting vague, passive-aggressive stuff on social media. Watching someone I love get betrayed by 2 people they trusted is sickening. Some people have no loyalty, blah blah. A few of Deborah and Rebecca's mutuals started giving Stephanie the side-eye online. Stephanie's pretty tough, but it clearly bothered her. Then Deborah started messaging our wider circle of acquaintances. Not even mutual friends, just people we both knew. Her narrative? I was a manipulative monster who was probably cheating on her with Stephanie for ages, and Stephanie was a backstabbing user who preyed on me in a vulnerable moment to break us up. According to Deborah, she'd been suspicious of Stephanie for months. It was almost impressive how quickly she spun it. Conveniently, her own charming habit of trashing everyone was never mentioned. The entitlement is just breathtaking. Last weekend, Deborah's mom, Mrs. Morgan, first name Laura, actually called me. Mrs. Morgan, Mark, dear, I know things are tense, but Deborah is just heartbroken. You know how sensitive she is. Me, Mrs. Morgan, with all due respect, Deborah ended things with her behavior long before I officially did. And her sensitivity doesn't give her a pass to treat people badly. Mrs. Morgan, but Stephanie? Her best friend? Don't you think that was a bit cruel? Perhaps you could just cool things off with Stephanie for a while. Give Deborah some space to heal. I was dumbfounded. You want me to stop seeing someone I'm happy with to placate Deborah, who explicitly told me she didn't care what I did or who I spoke to? Mrs. Morgan, well, she didn't mean it like that, Mark. She was upset, and Stephanie should have known better. Friends don't do that to each other. Me. Friends also don't constantly berate and belittle their partners and other friends. Mrs. Morgan. Deborah made her choices. Stephanie made hers. I've made mine. She huffed and said I was being very unfeeling and hung up. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I guess. They genuinely believe Deborah is the sole victim here. Stephanie, meanwhile, has been a rock. The attacks from Deborah and Rebecca and the cold shoulder from some of Deborah's clique initially made her second-guess everything. She felt immense guilt over those recordings. Stephanie, maybe I am a terrible friend. Maybe I should have just deleted them and never said anything. Me, Stephanie, you recorded her because she was being a bad friend to you. You told me because you saw her being a bad partner to me. Her actions caused this, not yours. The turning point for Stephanie's guilt came last week. Deborah, in a fit of pique, sent Stephanie a string of absolutely vile text messages. Not just "you betrayed me," but personal attacks on Stephanie's appearance, her job, her family. Pure venom. Deborah even wrote, "I gave you my friendship and you spat on it, you ugly, desperate loser. Mark will get sick of you too." Stephanie just stared at her phone. Then she looked at me and said, "Okay, I'm done feeling guilty." She's shown her true colors to me one too many times. She still wasn't sure about the recordings. She was like, it feels wrong to use them, like stooping to her level. Me, it's not about stooping. It's about truth. She's actively trying to destroy our reputations with lies. We have proof of her actual behavior. We don't have to release them to the world, but maybe to the right people if she keeps pushing. Then came the first dirty trick. I volunteer at a local animal shelter on weekends. Suddenly, the shelter coordinator, a lovely older lady named Cynthia, got an anonymous email. It claimed that I had anger issues, had been seen behaving erratically, and might be unsuitable for working with animals or the public. The email was clearly designed to get me kicked out. Cynthia knows me well enough and just showed it to me, concerned. The phrasing had Deborah/Rebecca written all over it. Erratic behavior is one of their favorite dramatic terms. That was when Stephanie said, "Okay, Mark, enough is enough. If she's going to play dirty like this, the gloves are off. How do you want to do this?" The recordings. We haven't used them yet, but they're on the table. Deborah really has no idea what she's truly started. She thought she could control the narrative. She's about to find out what "I can talk about whoever I want" really means when her words come back to bite her. Final update, 2 months later. It's been a ride. After that anonymous email to the animal shelter, Stephanie and I decided we weren't going to just sit back and let Deborah and her crew run a smear campaign based on total fabrications. Deborah truly believed she was untouchable and that her version of events was the only one people would hear. She underestimated Stephanie, and she definitely underestimated how tired people were of her antics. So, the revenge, if you want to call it that, wasn't some big, dramatic public reveal. It was strategic and quiet, tailored to counteract Deborah's specific lies with her own words. First, there was mutual friend Kathleen. Deborah had apparently been feeding Kathleen a steady diet of Mark was so controlling. Stephanie is a home wrecker stories. Kathleen started acting distant towards me and Stephanie. So, Stephanie, with my blessing, sent Kathleen a very carefully selected 2-minute audio clip. It was Deborah a few months back, absolutely shredding Kathleen for forgetting her birthday for half a day, calling Kathleen a thoughtless, selfish cow, and mocking a personal issue Kathleen had shared with her in confidence. It was followed by another clip of Deborah telling Stephanie how she keeps Kathleen around for entertainment. Kathleen called Stephanie within the hour, horrified and apologetic. She said, "I had no idea. She always played the victim with me too. The things she said about you, Stephanie, and now hearing what she said about me. That friendship imploded spectacularly." Kathleen actually posted a very cryptic, "Be careful who you trust. Some masks are very convincing" message online. Deborah probably thought it was about us. Oh, the irony. Next was Deborah's attempt to mess with Stephanie's freelance graphic design work. Deborah knew some of Stephanie's old clients. She started subtly suggesting to one of them, a guy named Donald who runs a small marketing agency, that Stephanie was unreliable and going through a lot of personal drama. Donald was hesitant to give Stephanie a new project. This time, I sent Donald an email. "Hi, Donald. Heard there might be some concerns. Just wanted to share something that might provide context about where these concerns could be originating." Attached was a short screen recording of a video call Stephanie had saved. It showed Deborah complaining to Stephanie about how boring and stupid Donald's design requests were, how she overcharged him because he's clueless, and how she was stringing him along for easy money when she used to do some minor freelance work for him years ago. Donald's reply was swift. "Consider Stephanie's project confirmed. And thank you. This is eye-opening." He also mentioned he wouldn't be engaging Deborah for anything, ever. The biggest fallout came via Deborah's family. After Mrs. Morgan's call to me, Deborah's dad, Mr. Morgan, first name Stephen, decided to weigh in. He was more direct, basically telling me I was dishonoring Deborah and needed to correct the situation, implying I should apologize and dump Stephanie. This time, Stephanie and I sat down and compiled a greatest hits of Deborah's commentary on her own family. Snippets of her calling her parents clueless boomers who just enable Rebecca's laziness, complaining about how they never gave her enough. They paid for her car and half her rent when she lived alone before me, and detailed rants about how Rebecca was the favored child who got away with murder. We didn't send it to them directly. Stephanie sent it to Deborah's aunt, Aunt Sharon Morgan, with whom Stephanie had always had a decent relationship. Aunt Sharon was apparently known for being no-nonsense. We heard through the grapevine, Kathleen, who still had some tentacles in that extended family, that Aunt Sharon played some of those clips for Mr. and Mrs. Morgan. The story goes that they were mortified and speechless. Their attempts to defend Deborah apparently faltered when faced with her actual, recorded voice saying those things. The smear campaign died a very quick death after that. Word got around. People who had initially sympathized with Deborah started backing away when they realized her victim narrative was full of holes, and that she was just as vicious about them behind their backs. Her circle of friends shrank considerably. Rebecca is still staunchly Team Deborah, of course, but her rants now fall on deaf ears mostly. Deborah herself? She's furious, naturally. She sent a few more sputtering texts about privacy invasion and "how dare you record me?" Again, the irony. Stephanie just replied with a screenshot of Deborah's original text. "I can talk about whoever I want, however I want." It's called venting. Deborah had no comeback to her own words. She had to move into a smaller apartment. Apparently, her parents tightened the financial support after the revelations. Last I heard from Kathleen, Deborah is complaining to anyone who will listen about how everyone betrayed her and how Stephanie and Mark ruined her life. Zero self-awareness. Zero remorse. Just pure, uncut entitlement. She genuinely believes she did nothing wrong. Stephanie and I are doing great. It was a trial by fire, but it solidified us. We're communicating, we're honest, and we actually respect each other. My apartment feels peaceful now. We even adopted a cat from the shelter. Cynthia was thrilled, and the anonymous email is now a running joke. The revenge wasn't about destroying Deborah. It was about protecting ourselves and exposing the truth in a way she couldn't deny because it was her own voice. She wanted to talk about whoever she wanted, and she did. And those words had consequences. She built her own cage. We just helped her find the door to it. It's satisfying to know that she didn't get away with her manipulations. The best part is the silence. No drama, no accusations, just peace. Time to fully move on.